Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I think it's time for another D4 bad video because they just released something that I felt the need to kind of rant on as a whole, especially after playing some Last Epoch. And coming from a PoE background, of course. But first of all, I did want to say on the 17th or 18th, something like that, in a couple weeks' time, I'm going to go to LA and California with a bunch of other people. It's like a little press event for PoE 2. They're just going to talk about, or Jonathan's going to talk about PoE 2, some development stuff. Gonna give us some playtime, you know, bit of a test demo, etc., sort of thing, and we can record our gameplay, and then I'll be able to show it back to you when they're happy to let us do that. Maybe at the league announcement, something like that. And then I'll fly back, and yeah, it's just gonna be a nice 16-hour there, 16-hour back. I'll be there for like a day, and it'll be an event that I'm just doing for the sake of trying to get a bit more PoE 2 gameplay, so I can actually give some info on it and get a better look at it as opposed to the small look I did at ExileCon. So kind of exciting stuff that will be very fun and hopefully good things. I'm looking forward to PoE 2 a lot and think it could be the new standard genre definition of ARPG shit, as we all hopefully feel as well. But I digress. Back to D4 Bad. We have, or they have, a new system that they released, Gauntlet, which is like leaderboard style thing, which is something that people have been anticipating since the start of the game, and they've been, you know, outlined it pretty much from the get-go that it's going to be something they'll do in like season 3, some shit like that. It got delayed, whatever. It finally came out. It's a pretty lackluster system from what we've seen so far. Now, I would show you footage of it. I don't play it at the moment. I started this season, just played a little bit, like, I don't know, a few days. And then stopped. I don't have a high-level character. I'm not going to download a patch or some shit, and I'm not going to steal someone else's footage, so I'll save you the pain, and I'll just let you watch my latest character on Last Epoch that I've been putting together, which is a mage doing fireball and with meteor procs and using some sort of flame thing, and it's been a lot of fun to put together. So we'll watch that while I rant about this. Either way, so what's happening with the D4 Gauntlet thing is not good stuff. Basically, it's a very rehashed system. It is just plain and simply challenge rifts from D3, but like worse, potentially. So people wanted these leaderboards, or some kind of leaderboards, something to compete against with people, and what they got was what was a D3 challenge rift from, like, you know, 5 to 10 years ago or something. Just a stock standard layout of a dungeon that doesn't change for a week. People can compete in it, just trying to get the most points by clearing monsters the fastest. You click a bunch of shrines / pylons, and you get more powerful, and then you reset some mobs, and then you just collect more points. It's like, I don't know, 8 minutes or something like that, and one run is probably all you'll ever need, from what I've seen from some streamers and some content. Yep, that's pretty much all it takes to get a feel for all you'll ever need for that thing. And the name of the game, or the lack of the name of the game for me, is innovation. Once again, when I first talked about D4, when I first looked at D4, I felt that there was a distinct lack of innovation. And this, once again, goes ahead with that. There just isn't any attempt at trying to bring us the next big thing. It's just bringing you a thing that exists, or has existed, and maybe a different version of that, but like a lot of the times worse, and then it'll catch up. Yeah, I don't know how to even, like I said, when D4 first came out, it felt like a game that was already solved. We got it as a beta, and for the first 20 levels you got to play it, and you pretty much saw the game and everything it would have had, and that was pretty much it for the whole game, because there isn't much depth to it. There isn't much new stuff. There isn't much innovation. It's what you saw from D3. It's what you're going to see now, and it was a very safe play, I feel. So my understanding of this is, I think they tried to put out the next Diablo, which was going to sell the most because it was going to be a safe play that looked like another game that people go, yep, more Diablo, I'm going to buy that. And then once they did that, they went, okay, now tell us how we can make this game cooler and better, because since then they have been trying to do that. They've been like, yep, give us feedback. Yep, you like that, you don't like that, we'll try and put that in, we'll try and make this better. And it turns out they need an itemization rework, which is something that's happening next season, which I would not hold your breath for. But it seems like they started from the point of let's sell as many copies as possible and then let's try and make a game, and it just isn't something that can happen, I don't think. People, when D4 first came out, said it's got a good foundation, like it's got a good core, because, you know, it was shiny, had good polish, and played rather well. Unfortunately, that's just not how the foundation worked out, because you can't really change the game after that point, the way the systems are in place, because the systems themselves are pretty bad. Whereas this game, Last Epoch, after having tried it, I think this game has an actual good foundation. It just could use some polish and some better play here or there, and, you know, fixing up of some bugs and whatnot. But its actual systems and its core and its foundation is good. You can build upon this and you can make a bigger, better game. So that's the whole difference. This game tried to innovate, whereas D4 did not. So this game looked at past games, Path of Exile, you know, Diablos, whatever it is, and took the systems and tried to bring their own light to it, tried to bring their own version of those things that were good, things that worked. They looked at things that worked. You can actually see it in this game in plenty of cases. They took stuff from Path of Exile, saw, yep, that works really well, but it could be even better, or we could do it completely different. And that's what the innovating, like, of the ARPG should be, and I hope will be in the future. If you were just looking at PoE and then D4, which a lot of us would have, you would think there's not much room for innovation anymore. You're like, okay, well, that's kind of what just happened, D4. And I guess we'll just wait for PoE 2 and hopefully they can bring something else to the table. But no, it turns out you can still do a lot with skills, with crafting, with, you know, gameplay. There's still a lot that can happen, still a lot that you can bring to the table if you actually try by looking at past games and bringing your own spin to it. So that's what Gauntlet is. It isn't anything innovating. It is just a system that they put in place to basically quell the tide so that people don't ask for it anymore. And it also confuses me because it was released halfway through this season right now. And I don't understand why that would have happened. Because this system, this Gauntlet, doesn't look very fun, doesn't look very interesting, or like it's going to add too much to the game right now. But if it was in its exact same spot right now, released at the start of a season, it would have actually at least added some kind of cool factor to it of, oh man, everyone's going to be racing to the top as they're building their character up. You get your character to level 70, maybe you want to try yourself against a Gauntlet, you get it to level 80, 85, you get some new skills, you get some new items, try it again, someone else is making a push, you try and make a push, you find a Shaco big new item, someone else finds a grandfather or something, you're competing against each other, someone's taking the lead, someone else taking the lead because of items, because of routes, whatever the fuck it is. All of a sudden that would have been way more exciting. Instead it was dumped in the middle of the season when most people that have been playing this entire time have like their perfect gear setup, and then there's just a few sweaty people that can try against each other for a few rounds and it just looks flat. So there's that. And I think the only reason they would have possibly done it right now like this is the lack of confidence in the system and trying to bring people back mid-season. Maybe that's what it is. But it could have been so much more. Like, the innovation for that, just, I don't understand why it's not there at all. It could have been so much more. You could add layers to it, you know, levels. You could be more of a dungeon crawl where you go through various stages of going to deeper parts of a dungeon. Instead of being time-based, it could have been depth-based, kind of like a delve system. Things get progressively harder. And, you know, maybe you'll be remembered as one of the heroes that went some certain depth and then your character disappears or some shit. It could be more loot-based. I don't fucking know, man. I'm not a game designer. The problem is it doesn't need to be what an old system was from 10 years ago, but worse. So I don't get why there isn't any attempt at trying to innovate there. It's reskinned bosses, it's reskinned mobs. Sometimes not even reskinned. It's mostly just like the actual mobs that have already been there. You know, Tomb Lord number 5000. So I don't understand why they don't at least try and do some bigger things. It's like they don't want to look at past examples and try and make bigger and better. They just want to, I don't know, man, phone it in. Beats me. So yeah, it's a bit of a rant about the Gauntlet, and then playing this game has reminded me a lot of things I didn't like in D4, and I just took them for what they were. I was like, yep, I mean, whatever, it's a bit annoying. Game's still kind of fun to play. It's still, satisfying in some way. But then seeing what could have been, like, I wish D4 had a lot of what this game did, and then maybe even more. And I think it would have been a game that could damn near dethrone PoE for me, because I love the Diablo series. I love Angels, Demons, and stuff, and I love learning a whole new ARPG. Unfortunately, I won't get to do that in almost anything other than PoE 2, I imagine. This game is currently kind of limited in its depth because it's still fairly new. It's still being built upon. I'm still finding it very fun and learning and, building my characters and skills and all that. But it will come to an end, I don't know, maybe in a week or something. And then I'll come back at some other time when they've got more to it. And eventually, I suspect they'll have lots more, and it will be a true competitor for me. But at the moment, it's just going to be, a playthrough or two. Diablo 4, unless it completely changes what it has done and what it can do and what it will be doing, unlikely is going to be bringing me back for any real duration, maybe just to test a new system or some shit. But it just disappoints me. Like this whole video is just a rant about basically being disappointed in what could have been, because there's just no risk taking in that building of that game, and there's just no reward because of it. The crafting system is another thing that pissed me off after doing this crafting system. Looking back at that one, it's an insult to call what D4 has as a crafting system. You find an item, you take it to the vendor or the smith or whatever, and you press upgrade 5 times. You just take away your mats for a slightly more powerful item. This one, you have choices, you are immediately engaging with it, you are making more powerful items. There's also, part of what a crafting system needs to be is risk and reward. You either win sometimes, you lose sometimes. You get big results, you get not big results. That's what makes things exciting. Likewise with the minimap, another thing that pissed me off. I didn't even log into D4. I clicked on Datmods' stream when he was trying out the Gauntlet, and for him to see where he wanted to go next, he had to press his map button, and all of a sudden, huge map overlay, you can't see anything, and then you press your map button, and then you're basically staring at the top right where your minimap is, wondering where you go next. Whereas here, you press your little fucking overlay, boom, you keep running, you know where you're going, you take your overlay off when you just want to blast and not have to see that. I don't understand it. Okay, so I think that's about it. Didn't know what else to really say. I just wanted to rant about the Gauntlet and then the state of how I feel about D4 and what I've seen from it and how it's been going, and then compare it to my latest exhibition into another ARPG. And what that leads me to is I'm actually more excited for PoE 2 now, because I know what else there is, what else can be, and I know the leaders of the innovation in the ARPG genre, and it is GGG. And they have their previous game to build upon. They will look at other games like your Diablo, like your Last Epoch. They will take systems, they will try to build upon other systems, they'll try and bring new stuff. And this game is certainly a bit slower than PoE, and it felt pretty damn good to play. And PoE 2, by the looks of it, might be a bit slower than PoE 1, but at the same time, it's going to be deep, it's going to be new. There's going to be lots of new stuff to explore, figure out, build, and I think it's going to feel pretty damn good. Part of why I want to go test this PoE 2 thing in LA right now is to kind of certify from the start of a game, if we get to play that, just how good it might feel to play at that slower pace to begin with, and whether or not it feels bad, because everyone's afraid that it kind of looks slower and worse, but I don't think it will feel any worse. And the start of the game just, of course, is going to be a bit slower. PoE 1, the start of the game is pretty slow. So I'm going to compare it kind of to the start of PoE 1. If it feels a similar pace, if it feels a bit slower, but it still feels really good, then holy shit, we should be very excited for whenever it comes out. We're already pretty excited, right? But just, you know, full steam ahead excitement, as with no reservations. So yeah, bit of a D4 bad video, bit of a Last Epoch good, bit of a PoE 1 and 2 good video. Hopefully that was fun, did something. I don't know. I just wanted to rant, get some of that stuff off my chest. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.